and welcome back to Pokemon Team Videos. Today's Pokemon Team video comes to us from Ichigo Kurosaki to do the whole Kimbachi thing. And you asked, funner one, I haven't done a Magic character yet in this series. What is Nicol Bolas' from Magic the Gathering's Pokemon team? Of course, he's a dragon, so he's got talks more like this a little bit. Now, this is one of those characters that I think actually does at least a bit of a background explanation. In the card game Magic the Gathering, there is a vast history, lore, all that. In the lore, there are beings known as planeswalkers, characters who can, move between different planes of reality, different worlds, and they tend to be stronger than the average character. Prior to a certain event, they were actually depicted as gods, pretty much. Now they just tend to be stronger than average characters. And one of these characters was the Elder Dragon known as Nicol Bolas. He is not just an Elder Dragon, he is a wizard sorcerer of one of the highest degrees. He's arguably one of the strongest single characters in the entire series. And the only reason he ended up losing in the big event where, that basically was his kind of climactic story arc is due to his own arrogance and oversight on a couple things. That's the only reason he ended up losing. Because otherwise, there really wasn't any one single character strong enough to take him down. Even his own brother, which he has a brother, Ugin, who is honestly my personal favorite planeswalker among the group. Bolas kind of comes in at number 2. I know people kind of think he got a little overexposure, and yeah, to a degree he did. But I'm not going to mince words. He's still freaking awesome. And yeah, his brother Ugin, who's extremely powerful in his own right, don't overall think he thinks that he's strong enough to take down Bolas. But regardless, we're not here to go into all that. We're here to talk about Nicol Bolas. So first and foremost, you might be surprised and realize that there are some dragons on this team. I know, shocker. It makes sense, obviously. He is a dragon. I was going to obviously lean a little bit into the dragon archetype. And I will say this. There are 3, technically 4 dragons on this team. Now, let's start with the basic one. The big first one is Giratina. And I obviously have the origin form here, which I frankly think is the cooler looking version of Giratina. Why Giratina? Well, first off, Giratina is a legendary Pokemon, and by all account, if you were to turn Bolas into a Pokemon, he would be a legendary in terms of his level of power. He's a legendary Pokemon, and he is the Pokemon the Distortion World, and technically he's the Pokemon of gravity, basically. Time, space, and gravity are like what the 3 big ones represent. Technically, it's antimatter, but technically, let's be honest, it's gravity. But also, he's a Dragon Ghost type. Now, I actually liked the idea of having a Ghost type on here because Nicol Bolas actually died several times within the Magic lore. But because of how powerful he used to be, he didn't actually die. His spirit just lingered until he found a new vessel and was able to resurrect. And even by the end of the War of the Spark novel, which is what the whole event was, his brother said, yeah, he's cheated death before. If we kill him, he's probably just going to find a way back. So I got to keep him in prison for a while. So I think Giratina is a good start-off point for that. Another dragon that made it to the team, I feel, it's a little different, but still, is Hydreigon. And this, again, is just due to the fact that it's a pseudo-legendary, so it's a very powerful Pokemon. But it's also a dark type, and I wanted something that really represented the more sinister and destructive aspects of Nicol Bolas. Now, I do have another Pokemon on this team that is actually more representative of the manipulative evil side of him. But in terms of the sheer raw power of the dragon and, the evil tendencies that he can have, the dark nature of him, I put Hydreigon on the team more for the pure destructive aspects of him. So then, as I mentioned, we have a Pokemon that represent definitely the more manipulative, evil, and sinister sides of him. Now, in Pokemon, the dark type is technically the evil type. But most dark types aren't truly evil. But this Pokemon is literally said to actually be evil. It's actually manipulative, master planning, and just kind of, evil in many ways. That's Malamar. Malamar is depicted as a very, malevolent Pokemon. Even in the anime we've seen it is depicted as such. It's depicted as being very malicious. It's also a psychic dark type, which allows us to represent the First off, telekinetic and psychic abilities of Nicol Bolas, who is a very powerful telepath in his own way. Um, and the sinister aspects of him, where, yeah, Bolas schemes for years, decades, centuries at a time. Like, he has no problem waiting out for a plan to see how it goes. And that's basically what he was playing long games the whole time throughout the story until he's basically eventually brought down. Should note, too, for a story for Magic players out there, for any of us who actually like Nicol Bolas, which I do, he's not dead. And we will most likely see him again, but it will probably be a while. And honestly, it's actually been a good, fair amount of time since we seen Nicol Bolas. Because we went to Battle of the... not Battle for Zendikar. Was it Battle for Zendikar? No, Return to Zendikar. Anyway, Zendikar Rising. That was it. We went to Zendikar Rising. We went then to Eldraine. No. Sorry. We went to Eldraine after we went to War of the Spark. We went back to Theros. Then we went to Ikoria. Then we went to Zendikar again. Then what was after Zendikar? Kaldheim. Then we had Strixhaven, and then we just had Forgotten Realms. And I mean, it's been almost 3 years now since Bolas has been around. I'm not saying he's going to show up anytime soon, but if he were to show up in a little while, I wouldn't be surprised. But I mean, the longer we wait for him, probably the better. That way people can grow to actually like him again, because I know a lot of people kind of got sick and tired of him after a while. So yeah, I liked Malamar for that aspect of Bolas. This next one I felt was a little of an oddball, but hear me out. Bolas is many things. He's a dragon, he's a sorcerer, and a very powerful one. He can do many different abilities, including transform. Bolas has often come disguised as people, offering advice, opinions, just to manipulate them for his own goals. That fits Ditto's MO pretty well. Ditto is the Pokemon that transforms. Now, Mew can also do this, and maybe you could have made an argument that Mew would have been the better choice, given it also had psychic abilities. But Mew's too cute and innocent, I think, for Bolas to really have him on his team, I think. I just don't agree with that one. So I like Ditto as for the transforming, trickster nature of him. Now that leads us to the last two. Now this first one I'm going over is basically Nicol Bolas when he was at his height and what he was trying to do during the War of Spark is become a god again. Because Nicol Bolas, for all intent and purposes, was a god at one point. He was that powerful as an individual. And obviously we have a god Pokemon here in Arceus. Now, Arceus is unique because he can beat every single type. Not at once, mind you, but every single type. And so I would just use the dragon equivalent for Arceus here. And that would be your god Pokemon right there to represent Nicol Bolas as his god form. Now, at this point, I pretty much decided on these 5. It was the last Pokemon I needed to figure out. And there were options. There were definitely options. You'll notice, by the way, I said 3 dragon-type Pokemon on this team. We only have 2. 4 if you can count Arceus' dragon form. So obviously, spoilers, this one's a dragon. But I'm like, okay, what else do I put on the team? I could go with his manipulation of other individuals, but there's not many Pokemon that really do that. I can go with, the idea of, and I'm just like, I'm like struggling. I'm like, okay, Nicol Bolas got a lot going for him, but not that translates very well to Pokemon. I'm like, well, he's also a brother. I mean, he's brothers with Ugin. So I'm like, okay, that could work. Is there any Pokemon that works for like the duality of 2 different like ideologies and stuff like that? And I realized, well, actually there is, and there's a dragon type and a legendary that fits for there. So the Reshiram and Zekrom ideologies, perfect, because they represent yin yang, which basically Ugin and Bolas kind of do as well. So that kind of worked as a perfect allegory for Bolas. Now the question was, because I couldn't remember, which one represented which in terms of who needs to be represented here, Reshiram or Zekrom? My initial reaction was to go with Zekrom, more for appearance, but also because I'm like, okay, he represents the more negative aspects, right? But I'm like, no, I can't remember. So I looked, and Reshiram was more the truth versus the ideology of Zekrom. And I'm like, okay, which one of those fits Bolas better? And I thought ideology fit better. So Zekrom is ultimately the Pokemon I decided to be his last member. This is basically the member of the Tao trio, Yin Yang, and then basically nothingness, as we just go woo 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 to him. But yeah, because he was also the older brother. Technically, Ugin and Bolas are twins, but he was the older brother of a dragon. He was the more, I don't want to say he was the more powerful. They were evenly matched in the Pokemon lore, but his ideologies were more about, his ideology was more important than actual truth. So, which I do believe is what Ugin strives for a bit more than Bolas does. So I felt Zekrom was, I almost said Zekrom and combined Reshiram and Zekrom together. I felt Zekrom was the better option between the two for this Pokemon team. So again, we have Ditto for the transforming, shape-shifting, mischievous or manipulating parts of Bolas, along with Malamar, who is very much the manipulative, planning Pokemon that, actually causes evil schemes and tries to take over the world, or tries to take over things. We have Hydreigon to represent the more dark, destructive aspects of Nicol Bolas' dragon nature. Giratina to represent, again, legendary, but also the fact that he is a ghost type, and Nicol Bolas has died several times. And just to represent the fact that ghosts can use things that would be attacks that could be more equated to magic. But then again, so can dragons in general. Arceus to represent the god aspects of Nicol Bolas, because he was and almost became a god again. And then Zekrom to represent the duality between him and Ugin, his brother. So, as Nicol Bolas represented probably closer to his own ideology than Ugin represented looking for the truth. So, ultimately, that is Nicol Bolas' Pokemon team. Let me know if you agree with this team, or if you do not. If you do, that's cool. Put what you think the team would be in the comments below. But thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Like, comment, share, subscribe. As always, if you want us to review something, put in the comments below. Let us know. We'll do a review of it at some point. Hit that bell if you want to be notified, and I'll catch you folks later.